Okay. Let's go check the stream to see if we are ready. Let's see, going live. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. And yo. Can you hear me over there on the stream? Can you hear me on the stream? You hear me on the stream, on the stream. Turn the stream, stream, streaming. Can you? Okay, I think it's working over on YouTube. I'm all the way live. All the way live. YouTube. 1, 2. All the way live. I think it's working over on YouTube. All the way live. All the way live. YouTube. 2. All the way live. Check. 1, 2. Return. It's actually, I think I gotta quit that one. This one. Let's go in. My camera is not off, but okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Sign. Okay.
Charles is here.
What's going on?
Chili, do you hear us?
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Your mic is off, Charles. Your mic is muted.
Oh.
And, you know.
Nobody needs to hear what I have to say anyway.
That's why, Charles. We come here just for you.
I think you can for the able 10.
I don't know what little bit you was getting at, but it did not work.
The A. A.
The,
A.
the big A.
A.
I,
A.
over the head, over the head.
Over the head. Over the head. Over the head. Got it. How's everybody feeling today?
Bored, yo.
Still going to work, Charles. They're still making me go to work. I want to kill them.
Yo, I'm at work too. Like,
What
I'm
the fuck?
right now, kind of.
What the fuck? I got work tonight. What you mean?
What the fuck? Why are we going to work?
I know. Well, who knows? In 1 month, you might be praying you still have a job.
That's true.
That is the fact. That is the fact, Charles.
Where you could be like everybody else and be laid off, expecting a check.
That is so true.
You know what's the
Nah.
best thing about being a welfare host is that I'm getting unemployment and they're still gonna send me a check for $1,000, so it's like the best of all worlds.
It's gonna be like, here's $1,000 and taxes is about 98%, so keep it all but $2, or give us all but $2.
$20.
Excuse me.
More importantly though, like you guys saw Biden win these
Yeah, it's over.
What? I'm voting for Trump 2020. Who's the vote for Joe Biden?
It's over.
It's amazing how this country screams for a multicultural president, but yet you don't get one.
Biden. Hey.
It's the devil.
Biden, he's, what up, Austin?
Big ass mic.
Oh, okay. I think Biden's, he's committed to having a woman of color on the Supreme Court and a female vice president. So he's trying to sell himself pretty damn hard.
Yeah, I can't see that by other than just letting the woman be the president. That would kind of, I don't know.
He's up there, man. He may have to be in a nursing home before he's even elected.
That's what I'm saying. Stop his nomination. It needs to have the old person that's the president.
Woman of color on the Supreme Court and a female vice president. So he's trying to sell himself. Whoa, mad delay. Oh, somebody's looking at the YouTube stream. I see.
Yeah. Yep, that was me. Why am I so delayed? And then I realized that's what it was.
Oh wait, Charles, you're gonna switch it to a YouTube stream instead of a Twitch?
Yeah, you know, I want to make this work and see what's out there. So today I hooked up YouTube and tried to hook up my local setup in a better way. Anyway, so I sent the YouTube. Hey, Shades is here. Awesome. I sent the YouTube link, and you can check the stream. It's already going. It's a little delayed, so probably shouldn't listen to that audio just yet. Maybe mute it if you want to just check it out right now. Yo, George, what up? Y'all make sure you signing in.
Already did.
Word up, that's what's up.
I didn't see the email. Where's the email?
Gang, gang.
I sent it after class last night. What up, Jean? Yo, he uses. Did you use your elbow there, George? Don't get that on me, man. Don't get it on me. Yo.
Yeah, George. You see that, George. I'm playing those games.
Yo, that's like the future virus. It'll go through the computer, infect the computer, and you.
Plan Charles.
Hospital, and the hospitals are on lockdown. You can't go see nobody at the hospital.
Yeah, it might be like that in the city. Like, if somebody from outside the city wants to come see you, they might need a secret password or something.
You going down low?
Damn, that's crazy. Where we at? 10 people. Okay, people coming in, sign in. I sent an invite to the sheet last night. I don't know if I can put that link. I think you need to be invited to that sheet to edit it.
Hey Charles.
Yeah.
I want you to my mixing.
That's not Pro Tools. It looks like Fruity Loops, I think.
This is Pro Tools.
Okay, I see that. Okay. Sorry. I went to look at the sign-in sheet. Okay, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, Austin, go sign in. I sent you an email invite to your Yahoo, so it should be on there. Let's see what else.
You did Yahoo. No way you can tell Yahoo.
Oh, I see hip hop sample. What's this?
So let's see. There was a Canvas announcement about online resources today, so I can share that with you guys if you were too lazy to look at
Wow.
it.
Some of us try to do our due diligence.
I didn't look at it.
I didn't look at nothing.
I don't look at it either.
You guys are great.
Why y'all proving me wrong? Jesus Christ.
You're like, yo, you're mocking us, but we didn't look up. Oh man, dude, this is gonna be a long ride.
Y'all can just say y'all skimmed it.
I'm gonna see if I can bring it up. Peter sent it to the instructors today. Looking. I was told to announce that the album club is going to meet virtually. I think that's tomorrow. If anybody was part of that. Yeah, there's album club. The idea is that you listen to a whole album and then you sit around and talk about it.
It's like a book club, but album.
I like the idea, honestly.
Exactly what it sounds like.
Well, the idea of an album is kind of lost these days, so it's I don't know. Could be an interesting conversation.
Album. What defines the
I mean, that's something that could be talked about at the album club.
See? What's the difference between an EP and an LP?
Extended play and LP is a long play, which is supposed to be an album. There was I think a time difference and a format difference back in the day for those two. So, oh Lala, welcome back. How you feeling?
I'm good.
Good.
Tired.
Yeah. Feeling under the weather or just overwhelmed by everything?
No, I'm not under the weather. I just need a nap.
Okay. I'm good at putting people in that place, so.
I know that's why I signed in.
So
Charles
Charles,
on a roll today.
Yeah, I just got started, baby.
yo, Charles.
Yeah, what? What's up?
Um, in Kansas, I see like in the new mod that we, well, not the new mod. What is it? Well, I guess the week lesson that we have for Ableton.
Yeah.
What exactly are we using the hip hop samples for?
Those were Tony's sample. Um, I actually didn't listen to those. Yeah, it's weird. I can still hear myself really loud 1 second after I say so. So
You got a lot of feedback, huh?
yeah,
Hey,
it's
George.
crazy. It's crazy.
Hi.
But those were Tony's samples.
Were
Um,
those supposed to be for like an Ableton exercise?
yeah. But I sent you the ones that I'm going to use, and you should use if you're trying to follow along with me.
Okay.
Oh my God, I cannot. How do I turn off this double monitor?
Hi, George. What's up,
Who's that?
dude?
Oh, I'm not. Cuts me off. 1, 2, 1, 2. No. No voice, no beat. No voice, no beat. No voice, no beat. Can't hear the beat. Beat, 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 beat. Beat, beat. Beat. Can you? I don't know which one it was. You got both. Okay. Hopefully, I'll go back. Oh, yikes. Oh, man. You can hear 3 and 4. Okay, okay. It's so damn confusing. Okay, 3 and 4. No. Uh, 3 and 4. It's the sunflower. That's right. 3 and 4. 3, 4 is not working. Okay, 3 and 4. Here we are. All right. You can hear my voice, right, Charles? All right, stop the speed. You guys, you don't really need to see my face. I'm not doing anything, so let me turn off. So I'm gonna turn off my grill because you don't need to see my grill. So I think this is my grill. There we go. Okay, glad you guys can hear both. It's like 2-minute delay. Okay, so that's funny. So all right, starting from the top. If you are following along, and yo Hector, what's up? We're doing that Ableton thing tonight. So if you got it, open it up. All right, here we go. If you're following along, this is start from the very top. Open a new Ableton. Yeah, baby, that was it. That was lit, yo. That's how. It's like bloopers and outtakes from classes. So make a new live set, and do me a favor, and on the top left, under where it says link, go ahead and open up the source bin. Maybe I should ask you, how many of you have Ableton installed and want to follow along? Audio keeps going in and out. Okay. You should be able to hear now. Should be able to. Okay. So, type in the chat. Okay. Okay, three of you. Awesome. So I'm just going to show you how to awesome. If I move too fast, just say something in the chat and I'll retract something. No problem. Okay. Awesome shades. Okay. Awesome. So for those of you that have Ableton open, just click on the top left and open up the source bin. Yesterday I went through the source bin in terms of like what it can do for you in terms of sorting and finding things. You got major categories of sounds, effects, and instruments on the top left. If you click on a category on the right, you get the inside look of that category. Pretty straightforward. Down below, we have places. We didn't talk about places yesterday. You can think of places as user-definable bookmarks. So this is where you can say, hey, I have a folder where I keep my beats, and I want you to have this available every time I open up Ableton. So places is more for you. Categories is just general sorting of different types of things available in Ableton. Okay, so do me a favor, go down to places and then go down to add folder. This is a place where you can bring in a folder that you have on your Finder or hard drive, and you want to link it to Ableton. So click on Add Folder. I'm going to do the same, and I'm going to add those samples that I sent you guys to via Canvas yesterday. Okay, so I hit the little plus symbol, and I get a little navigator window. I happen to know my stuff is on my desktop, so I'm going to go to the folder, sample fodder, and I'm going to hit open. So this will permanently add that folder, and every time you come to Ableton, it's going to be there. So every time you have a new set of samples or some new sounds you bring in on your computer, you can drag it into this folder. And when you click on this folder, you'll be able to see inside all the samples that I sent you. So I'm gonna click on that and go to a category. Let's go to drums. In Ableton, if you want to preview something, you can click on it, and it should preview the sound on your hard drive. If it does not, you need to click this little button down here at the bottom. This little DJ headphone icon is like a cue button. DJs cue music so they can get it into the mix smoothly. This is kind of the same idea here. You're queuing up things to go into your live set. So click that little button, and you click, and you should hear different sounds. You can use your arrow keys to scroll up and down and get previews. Ableton, I mentioned this yesterday. Ableton tries to analyze audio that you bring in so you can put it on a timing grid so it's synced up for whenever you change the tempo, it will go with you. That system in Ableton is called warping. And this little icon here will let you know that Ableton has analyzed audio and knows what's in it and knows how to deal with it. So you stay in Ableton if you're following along, but I'm going to show you something on Finder that's related to that. So when you are working with sound in Ableton and you make changes, maybe loops, you change where things loop, or you change where the pitch is or the speed, all the little changes you saw me do yesterday, that stuff gets saved in a ASD file. So every sound in this folder has a parallel ASD file, and that's basically all the information Ableton uses to play the song back, or play the sound back. It's helpful if you want to have your sounds kind of ready to go without too much prep. So you set it up once, and then you bring it in every time. It'll be the exact way you set it up. You don't have to do any of the looping or pitch change or any of that stuff. It'll save it. We'll get into that in details later, but if you wanted to reset everything, you can delete the ASD file, and Ableton will think it's never seen the audio before. All right. So, back to Ableton. That's taking time to download the new folder. Oh, you're talking about the beats? It shouldn't, it's not very big. It's just I think it's only like 20 megs. 20 megs. Yeah. Yeah, it's just 30 megs. It should really be very quick. Well, I can walk you through that again later if you're still getting caught up. Okay, so I've added the folder, and now every time I open up Ableton, it'll be there, and my sounds are pretty much ready to go. So to get all of the files, not sure what you're... yeah, not... Okay. Not sure what you were asking, Shades, but sounds like you got it together. And yeah, let me know. Okay, so I just wanted to walk you guys through making sound with Ableton from this point. So you got a sound folder added. Now you just need to bring it out to the stage. Remember, you can hit your tab key to go to arrangement view. If you're more comfortable with making music by like loops on a timeline, that's going to be your way to go. I'm going to mostly stick with this session view because it's something that you guys need to get oriented on. So I probably won't do a lot of beat building over here for the moment. Okay, so hitting your tab key gets you between the two views. Let's bring out a little bit of music and just mess around with it for a second. So do me a favor, click on your folder, click on miscellaneous, and let's grab, let's see, I think Al Green's in here. Here it is. If you're on a PC, that might be a problem because it's an AIF file. Anyway, grab Al Green and drag him over to any slot on an audio track. And double click. You should be able to get Al Green's info down below. So we're looking inside this audio clip, and what I want you guys to do is just get this looped up so you can, there's my snitch, sorry about that, looped up so you can just play a part of audio. We don't need all this audio down in here, so we just want to grab a portion of it. So the easiest way to do that, make sure you're double clicking on the clip. Once it appears down below, you can have a good listen, and let's just count out one measure, and what we'll do once we mark off a measure, we're going to drag and select an area, and then we'll loop that. That'll be the kind of the short intro here. Okay, so I'm gonna listen to this clip and count off one measure, or let's do two measures. Whoop, it's in the track where I'm talking about. 2. All right. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. So right there, this transient is where we need to loop this track from the back to the beginning. So if I click where that transient is, drag back to the beginning transient. I should have mentioned in Ableton, it's much like Pro Tools with the Smart Tool. If you're on the bottom of a clip, you get a different tool than if you're on the top. Excuse me. Top is selection tool. So try to make sure you're on the top part of the clip. So I'm going to Command L when I have that area selected. Command L is loop. So that should be just like a rough loop, and it's just really to cut off the part of music that we want to use, and we can separate it from the rest of the music and edit it and do whatever we want. So if you're following along and you got this far, let's go ahead and right click on the clip while you have your loop and choose crop sample. So this should make it so you can only see the area that you highlighted. So now I've edited the clip down. Now I need to, quote, put it on the time grid. To do this, we need to match these numbers on the top, which are whole numbers are measures, and decimal points in this case are quarter notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3. So we need to find that place in the musical loop and then match that. So I cut off 2 measures of Al Green, and I need to match those 2 measures with 2 measures in Ableton. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so it's gonna be like something like that. So now on the top, the metronome is this little button here. Click that to enable it, and now we can verify that we've put everything on the time grid and the timing is okay. Wow. Because I have like a 2-second delay on my talking, all the noise in Ableton is the same, so I can't actually tell if that's on time or not, but I'm pretty sure it is. I hear like 3, for every click I hear 3, and they're not, they're like a second or a half off. Ugh. When's this virus just gonna leave us alone? I can't wait. Okay. So hopefully you guys got that loop part down there. So now that it's looped, you can do all kinds of great things like change the tempo. So click in the area on the top right and drag up or down. Cool. And turn off the metronome. So I think now you're kind of getting how this could be used. Yesterday I did that. Clicked on the clip, Command D, and changed the pitch on one of them, like so. So I showed you those tricks before. We'll do a demo where I walk through it and you guys can follow along. We'll do that a little later, maybe towards the end today. Okay. So now you know how to bring out samples, cut them, loop them, and you can cruise around in here and change some different rules. We'll go through all this in like super slow detail in the coming weeks, so don't worry about it for now. So let's get back to the interface. So up on the top where it says link, so I'm gonna go through the functionality of everything here on the top, and then I'll go down here on the right. Okay, top left. Link is it's an Ableton proprietary but open source, meaning they made it, but a lot of other programs are adopting it at this point. It's kind of like MIDI, but a modern version. So it's used for wireless connection and syncing of instruments and devices. So you can sync like something on your iPad with Pro Tools and with another, like an MPC, and they can all kind of talk to each other without using MIDI cables. So it's somewhat new. I think they've only had it for like almost 2 years at this point. So if you do this, you can do like a wireless connection with other physical devices. Tap allows you to tap the tempo. So if you want to match like a live musician, maybe your drummer's playing and you want to sync up Ableton to your drummer, you just tap, whoops. To the right of that, you have the master tempo. In Ableton, if there's any area to type in numbers, you either click once and start typing. So if I click once, like I just did, and type in 121, the tempo just updates after I hit return. Or you can click and drag up and down. All number fields react the same way. So if it's in a plugin or some other place in Ableton, it acts pretty much the same way. So you can click, drag up and down, or you can click once and type in the number that you want and hit enter to make it so. These two little buttons here are for nudging. So the DJs in the audience will know about this trick. If you're a DJ and you have two pieces of music that are the same tempo but not synced up but very close, you often take your hand and kind of nudge or touch the turntable. In my day, your day, I guess it's like a CDJ or a controller. But nudging essentially allows you to temporarily push the tempo up or down. Temporarily meaning it snaps back to whatever tempo it is. So if I do this, maybe it'll go down to 121 or 2 for a second, and then it'll snap back to 123.3. So this is nudging forward, nudging back. So it's kind of a DJ thing. If you're playing live, trying to sync up with other people in an analog way, that's a good way to kind of make the difference of like a second or two. You guys know what time signatures are, so you can simply type in the time signatures you like. Pretty straightforward. Metronome, just went over this, but there are some details. If you click on a little button on the down arrow on the right, you can change the sound and you can change the count in for recording and the resolution, and you can have it only for recording if you want. Turn it off. This is the global quantization. So this is a good thing to know about if you're going to perform and you want to make beats, but you don't want to really have to worry about your timing. So this allows you to essentially click out of time, but have clips start on time. So it makes like a grid for when clips will launch. So let me demonstrate. So right now, this quantization is set to 1 bar. So when I click the play button, it waits for this counter to be at a whole number 00 to start the clip. So if I set it to 2 bars, it will wait till the next whole 2-bar interval comes to be. So watch as I click from one and then another. So that blinking is letting you know it's preparing to be played at the next interval. So you can go down to 30-second notes and you can go to none. So you can play things in real time, like drums and things you just want to not be quantized. It's a really good thing when you're trying to do slicing with samples and you want them to play quickly but in the time grid. So think I did it yesterday where you, let's see, do it like this. So I have it set to 16th notes, so I can almost play it like a keyboard, and but it'll still be on time. So it's like an auto quantization on MIDI. And none. But that's not on the time grid, so that's the global one for all clips here. You can also set in individual clips. You can also set them to their own quantization. So if I click on this, it says global. It says global right there. And then I click on the yellow one, I switch it to be 1/8. So you can okay, I think you guys get it. This button is to follow. It's typically when you're in arrangement mode and you're playing your set and you're scrolling by. If you click the stop bit to look at something, you want to jump back to the scroll, you click that button. It also works for this area down here as well. So if I click to look at something, but I wanted to follow again rather. So it like picks up the scrolling. Okie dokie, moving on. This is where your playhead is. So wherever you stop, this is going to be the playhead on the timeline. So over here, your timeline. So even if you're on the session view, not worried about the timeline, you can still be conscious of it by using so if I click in different places, it to do follow on Pro Tools. Yeah. Got you. Shades. So yeah, the playhead can be moved with your mouse. As you can see, I'm clicking and dragging here. Or you can type in a number, or if you just click around it in a live set, the playhead kind of jumps around. All right. I think you know what that does. I think you know what that does. And I think you know what that does. Just to be clear, this is like a master transport. So it works for the DAW. Over here, when you have clips, they will not necessarily start when you hit that played. In other words, if I just hit play with these not ready or armed, they're not going to play. So this is like a global transport. So when you want to record like automation or play these clips and put them on the timeline on the other side and mess with them, this is the record button that you use. And it'll record everything, mixer, movements, panning, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's that. Okay, we got a couple of higher level tools. This allows you to add automation on this side of Ableton. Automation in this program is a little different than other DAWs. You can't see automation out of the box. On Pro Tools and in Logic, it's pretty easy to get to it. In Ableton, they kind of hide it all until you wanna see it. Whoops. So it's not so straightforward. But the point I wanted to make is that in Session View, you don't have automation because every clip is its own track, so to speak. So these, whoa. So if you want to record automation, you have to enable it up here. Actually, yeah, here. I clicked on the wrong button. So on this side, the session view, automation is thrown into envelopes, and you can do a lot of controls, not only of track features like volume, pan, but you can also control other parameters of this clip, pitch, most notably pitch, but you can also control things that are in the track as well. We're going to go through envelopes in detail, so I'll come back to that. But you need to enable it here to be recorded. So actually, let's do, I was going to say, because this button is a back to automation button, which it's hard to see. So in Ableton, if you have automation and you're listening to it, if you just write it, you're automatically listening to it. It's happening. It's not like the latch. What is it? Write, read, latch, and I can't remember what the other automation parameter is in the other DAW. But here, you essentially have automation that's just listening. And if you move a parameter, so if I do this, sorry, I should step back 1 second. So if you have something automated and you move the parameter that's automated, but not the automation data, it thinks you don't want to listen to what you have recorded for automation. So what I just did here was I automated the on-off switch for the track. So if you play, it's just gonna basically turn it off. You can see right there, it just turns it off, and it's gonna turn it back on. Yeah. So if I go to that parameter and I turn it off, now it's like ignoring whatever was there because it thinks I don't want to listen to it anymore. So this button takes you back to be able to listen to it. Excuse me. There's some other ways you'll use quote back to automation, but we'll get into that later when I talk about the session view versus the arrangement and how they're connected. Touch, thank you. Yeah. Latch, touch, write, read. Thank you. So shades always on. Okay, I'm trying to get through this. Oh, this one, you guys will love this here. So this is one of the coolest features in this newer version of Ableton. Since they made Ableton 10, this is, I think, the coolest thing. So let's pretend you came into your studio, you loaded up some drums. So I'm going to go to my drum sets. Yeah, shoot. 808, everybody loves 808s. So check it. You come into your studio and you're not even really thinking about what to do today. You're just like, hey, I just want to like play with this drum set a little bit, and like, actually, this one would have been better. Yeah. Anyway, let's just do it like this. So, completely raw canvas. Nothing is loaded up. You don't have like any tempo you're working with. You're just like, let me get to these drums. So, I loaded up a drum kit here. I armed the track for MIDI. I'm going to use the musical input or musical typing thing to play these drums. So got my drums and cool. So yeah, you're just doodling, and you're like. And you're like, oh, man, that sounds cool. So typically, you gotta think about, okay, let me go to my recording, let me get the metronome, let me start playing, let me do all this stuff, like to capture that thought. Ableton got you on this one. They really got you. So check it. This button is called capture. I think it's called capture. Is it called capture? Yes, capture. Couldn't remember because I was getting confused with another thing called capture. So capture basically will analyze what you're doing and try to figure out the tempo, where it starts, and where it ends, essentially. So this is some like AI kind of stuff, because again, I didn't have a metronome playing. I didn't have any indicators for time. Now, I changed the time earlier, so it may go with that. In that case, I'll start a new live set, and you'll see. All right, hit capture. It changed it. So it changed the tempo to whatever I played. And if we want to look at my MIDI notes, so yeah, it just sorry, looking for this. So again, guys, no metronome. I didn't tell it, this is the downbeat, this is where it starts. It just figured it out from what I just played raw. And I even played a bunch of random stuff, like when I opened up the drum set. I didn't like play like a beat right off. I just doodled around. And this captured almost exactly what the idea was, with no recording, none. No other DAW does this, and it actually is AI based. Brian Jackson told me that he talked to somebody who works at Ableton, and they said it's based on some AI stuff. So again, it just it tries to listen to what you're doing and put it in a musical context. And again, there was no recording, no nothing. It got the time as in tempo, and it got the drums in the measures that I played them in. Like, it was, it's crazy. You guys don't seem to be chatting it up. I figured you'd be like, oh my God, that's amazing, Charles. Why didn't you tell us on the first day class? Anyway. So yeah, capture is some next level stuff for those who just want to like sketch. It's based on MIDI stuff, but if you had like sample slices or whatever, it would be the same because it's all MIDI stuff. I forgot the real specs on it, but I think it'll capture up to like 20,000 notes or something like that. There's no timing in terms of, I did something and 20 minutes later it's gone, which is partially why I stopped to talk to you guys before I hit capture, so you could see it wasn't about time or anything like that. Anyway, capture. Let's see, so this button is a session record button. So this allows you to overdub. In the case of something like the beat I just did, if I want to still record over but keep the notes, that button is the overdub. So now I can So I just overdubbed some claps. And now we're back to playing, not recording. If I hit that button, now we're back to overdub. Just the MIDI overdub in session view. Okay. This area here is for punching in, out, and looping. I hit my tab key to go to the arrangement view, and this thing is your loop marker. So if you're doing an 8-bar loop, you just do something like that. So this button enables looping. If you don't have that on, the playhead will just keep going. This is punch in, and this is punch out. This allows you to have recording start after a certain marker. So here's what we'll do. We'll set up something on the second MIDI track here. Maybe another. Why not? So on this one, so what I'll do is I'll have Ableton punch in after this point here. So if I want to record on this track, I can put the playhead back to 1, hit record. So you can see it was recording beforehand, but didn't actually start until the punch in, which was enabled here. That's a pretty standard DAW scenario. Tape machines used to utilize that technique a lot. So you wouldn't like record over something, but you could kind of play into it, so you could have like your tempo and your rhythm and your feel down before the playhead hits the record. So punch out, same thing. If you just record for a little bit and then stop. And like I said, that's the loop button there. There should be an indicator for how long this loop is. I don't see it. I think I'm zoomed in too much. There should be a indicator for amount of measures that you're looping up here at the top. Anyway, not super important. All right, 15 minutes to break. Almost there. So turn this stuff off. So up in here in the top right, this is your pen tool. Pen tool can write MIDI notes or can so I can write MIDI notes or automation. So if I go to this channel and go to let's go to track volume, I can draw in stuff there too. So you can draw in animation or draw MIDI notes. Pretty standard stuff there. So this is the musical typing. If you're a Logic user, you probably use that a lot if you don't have a MIDI keyboard in front of you. This is Ableton's version of that. the thing to look out for is that if you have musical typing on, shortcuts may be overwritten. It may not work because musical typing takes up the A, S, D, F, G, H, J, K, L line of your keyboard with like W, E, T, Y, and some others. So just be conscious of keyboard shortcuts and having this on. The other confusing thing is that this key to the right allows you to assign anything that is in orange right now can be assigned to a key on the keyboard. So you can click on the thing you want to assign. So I'll click on ascend, hit the letter A, and click on this volume, click the letter F, and click on this pan and hit the letter J. So now, if I hit A, F, or J, you can see I can access mixer functionality. Again, if you have musical typing enabled, it may overwrite or conflict with assignments. So just be conscious of all that as you work on things. All right, turn this on. So to the right of this key is the MIDI version of that. So if you have a MIDI keyboard, you can hook it up, and anything that's purple, you select, hit the thing on your controller, and it will be assigned. So you can assign keys, knobs, buttons quite quickly. I don't have anything in front of me, so I'm not going to do it, but works the same as the key assign does that I showed you a minute ago. All right. To the right of that is a CPU indicator. So Ableton is usually pretty stable, but if your CPU gets up to a certain number and you hear audio crackle, you should check up here to see what the limitations are of your computer. Maybe you might have to take some steps to reduce voices on synths, or turn down or freeze effects, etc. To get this percentage down to where your audio isn't cracking or having bad artifacts. To the right of the CPU indicator is the drive, as in hard drive indicator. This will light up if your drive can't keep up with Ableton. Ableton by default plays everything off the hard drive as a stream. So this means that if you're playing too many samples, like let's pretend like you got 100 beat loops you're trying to play at once, your hard drive may not be able to stream all that in real time and also keep up with whatever else it's doing. So this thing will light up. It rarely happens in modern times. Everybody's got SSD drives and they're usually pretty fast. But if you have a slower PC that's got a slower hard drive, you might see that light up. I would not try to test your computer in those cases. If it lights up, it actually also might be an indicator that your hard drive is going bad. So if you do see it light up, I would back up your data and check things on your computer before going too far. Okay, to the right of that, these two buttons are for MIDI in and out of the computer. I'm not currently connected to any controller, so there's going to be no MIDI in, but I can hit my musical typing up here and you'll see MIDI output is being triggered. So this is a good way to check that your MIDI controller is properly hooked up to your computer and that Ableton's actually receiving it. If you hook up a controller and you're hitting keys and turning knobs or turning knobs and you don't see any indicators there, then the MIDI's not getting to Ableton, which we'll go into the preferences later and you'll see how you can fix that inside of Ableton. Okie dokie. I showed you this to get from session view to arrangement. Going down to the right. So this little area here, so you can hide and reveal different parts of the mixer to make more real estate for yourself. So if you are feeling a bit crowded, remember Ableton doesn't have pop-up windows, so there's other ways to manage the real estate. So this is one of them. And this idea of having these buttons that you can kind of click and have them light up when they're on or off is echoed throughout the whole interface. So a lot of hiding and revealing is done with these types of buttons in the interface. I'll show you another place here in a second. All right, but just looking at the mixer here, if I close the detail view for a second, so you guys can kind of see down here. So this is the inputs and outputs. This is where you can route incoming audio, as in incoming from outside the DAW, or if you have stuff from another track in Ableton you want to bring in, this little area can be hidden and revealed with that button there. So this is the input-output area for MIDI and for audio. These are the sends and returns. I think I explained on the first day. This is how you send effects. This is analogous to the sends in Pro Tools when you're sending to an aux. So this is kind of the same setup where you have A and a B here, which pertain to the A and the B here. So you could look at it in the same way that you look at Pro Tools auxes for effects. And these are set up that way already. They already have effects in them. If I double click on the names, you can see there's effects in them. And they work in the same way that aux effects in Pro Tools and in Logic work as well. If you add more, if I go to create and a return track, so now I have 3. I have ABC now, and you can, I think you can add as many as you like. I don't think there's a limitation there. So just add another one, A, B, C, D, and there they are. It's the same procedure if you're doing a aux as a group. So remember in Pro Tools you have aux for effects using sends, which is where you're splitting signal off and you're sending some to the master fader, and you're sending some to an effects processor via the sends. In Ableton, it's kind of the same, except that for all sending, you only use this send area here, where I just sent my voice to a reverb, and I can send it to delay, which is this one. You are getting sleepy. You are under my spell. You are getting sleepy. Yeah. All right, sorry about that. That was a bit much. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, so the send and returns can be hidden here on the right, and return tracks, I can hide and reveal those too. Yeah. You guys are awesome. So yeah, again, I'm just gonna. Yeah, so we're all getting loopy, right? So you can hide and reveal the mixer controls. So the mixer controls are panning, volume, there's a peak meter, there's an on-off switch, there's a solo, and there's a record arm. So you can hide and reveal the mixer stuff over there. Last two things before we go to break are track delay. So back in the early 2000s when Ableton came around, computers were still getting it together in terms of being able to record and not having any latency. So they built in this feature where you could have each track have its own latency built in, so you could have it sync up with the latency that your voice is having or your instruments having coming into the computer. So delay just allows you to tell the track, pause for, or offset yourself a certain amount of milliseconds to sync up with the computer's delay for latency, and then therefore you're in time. So it's kind of analog latency compensation. You probably wouldn't really have a real use for that if your computer is running fine. But latency is still a problem with a lot of modern computers. So, okay, last thing before we call it a break is that the Ableton Live can be turned into a DJ workstation. So you can put your songs into these slots, kind of like CDs or records, and then each one of these slots can act like a turntable. So turntables usually have an A source and a B source. So if I do this and I play, whoa, what the hell is going on over there? So right now I have my voice as a source, and then I have Al Green as a source. So I can use this crossfader to fade between me and fade over to you don't have me anymore. So this is how DJs would DJ with Ableton. They would get a MIDI controller for that fader part and set a turntable for one channel, turntable for another channel, and of course you can have more than one turntable on your grouping. So you could have a bunch of records here, a bunch of records over here for B, and they still adhere to the fader rules like that. Okay, you guys have earned a break. So let's do, you know what, I'm feeling a little parched from talking so much and also hearing myself in my ear, so I need more than 10 minutes, so let's do 15 if you don't mind. I need to get a drink. Actually, I got a little headache too, so I need to take like an aspirin and just need to stop talking for a couple minutes. So let's do 20 and I'll stop class at the regular time. I won't make you suffer any longer than you have to. So go ahead and let's say 20 minutes, so you'll come back at 10 till. 10 till 10 till you are getting sleepy. You are getting sleepy. You are getting sleepy. You are getting sleepy. Take your break. Yes. I'm gonna pause the stream. 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 I'm gonna pause the stream.